What is up? Welcome into the Early Edge powered by SportsLine. I'm your host, Alan Bell. We're going to have a great show for you this Saturday morning. Get you ready for all the games across college football week 4 across the country. And you know what? We're going to waste no time doing it. First off, let's bring up our games from yesterday. And you see our gentleman here, my man Micah Roberts, my man Mike McClure. We'll get to them in 1 second. Take a look at how he did yesterday. Not that great of a day, to be completely honest with you. Allie misses on the Red Sox Yankees under. Our boy Matty Severs does hit on Mariners money line. Nice one there. Liberty -6.5 killed us last night. I know that hurt a lot of people over at SportsLine. That was an ugly one. They ended up losing 24-21 to Syracuse on the road. Liberty had their shot. They just could not get there in the end, as well as Charlotte -3. That was a push against Middle Tennessee State. If Charlotte could have played any defense whatsoever, that would have been nice. So, but yeah, we'll take that off the board here. Gentlemen, how we doing? Micah.
Excellent.
Nice background you got there. I like it.
Yeah, I had to change it up, man. Better lighting.
Yeah, little early morning audible. I like it, buddy. M Squared, how we doing, buddy?
Doing well, man. Got some big college football games early this morning, which I love. I everyone likes a primetime game. I like starting the day with a real big game. So yeah. I'm very excited about that. And then we got obviously NFL tomorrow, crazy Formula 1 qualifying today. It's a big weekend, man. Let's do it.
It is a big weekend for sure. We're going to jump right into the storylines here. Micah, what money moves are you seeing out in Las Vegas?
Well, I'm going to give you the moves from Circus Sports. They do the opening lines for college football for the ensuing week on Sundays at 11 a.m. And so the sharpest of the sharps are always there to get first crack at low limits, but you're going to get variance, up to 4 to 7 points, according to the bettors ratings of what Circa is offering. So it's funny to see the line movement, and it just jumps 3-point moves, 2.5-point moves, 4-point moves, back and forth, letting the bettors have it. And then the line settles, and then everybody kind of copies it. And that's where it's been for the brunt of the week. Here's what we have so far from last Sunday. Texas Tech +13 to +8 at Texas. Akron +53 to +48.5 at Ohio State. Missouri +1 to -2 to pick against Boston College. Auburn 23 to 27 against Georgia State. Utah State +12 to +9 against Boise State. Western Michigan pick to -3 against San Jose State. Troy 21 to 24 at Louisiana Monroe, and Georgia 31 to 36.5 at Vanderbilt. Those were the big moves initially.
Now, did you say that Texas Tech, they went from +13 to +8?
Yes.
That is a massive move there.
Yeah. Well, again, like I said, they're respecting everybody's opinion and moving it aggressively. If you move at 1 point, they're going to bet it again, and they're going to keep betting it if you only go a half point. So as a respect to the sharpest guys, I think these guys that are betting, they're betting with their own minds. There's no competing lines. So I respect them a ton, and I would do the same thing. You move aggressively. If the guy thinks he's getting something for free and he's willing to show his hand for only $3,000 on a bet, you better respect it a little bit.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, we're definitely going to respect that. I'm fascinated to watch that game even more now, just based on that information. So we'll jump into our site plays here. Our first and only site play that we're going to have today comes from our man Barrett Sallee over at CBS Sports. He's saying take the under between Texas A&M and Arkansas, 47.5. You've got two stout defenses here and two offenses, quite frankly, a little bit old school, right? Like they're going to move it on the ground. They're not going to get it in the air too terribly much. And as Barrett says, if you like old school football, Southwest Conference style, this is your game right here. So, yeah, under 47.5, that's where he's going. All right, so you know the rules on here. Coach laid them out. Whenever M Squared is on the show, he goes first. I'm not going to do his voice because you know what? Who could do that? Who could replicate it? But we will honor the tradition, the time-honored tradition of the show. So, M Squared, the floor is yours, buddy.
All right, let's start with that game that everyone is so interested in. It's going to be Notre Dame, Wisconsin. I like the under here. I've played it 6 different ways. The one I'm going to give you here on the show is going to be under 22.5 first half. And I know this one is on the move down. I would still play it all the way to 21.5. Both of these defenses are legit. The offenses, at least in the first half, are going to be content to be conservative, play a lot slower tempo game, I believe. Those Wisconsin defense is legit. I think that even if Notre Dame is able to move the ball, I think that once they get into that red zone there, I think it's going to lead to some slower play, some field goals, some difficult task to move the ball actually into the end zone. Then on the other side, Kyle Hamilton, I think he's going to eliminate pretty much all big plays from this Wisconsin offense. If you've watched them at all, they really haven't had much of a passing attack, and the success that they've really had has been on the ground against a really bad team. That's not what Notre Dame is. They're a legit defense. So I like the under 22.5 here. The next best play is probably the under 10 or 9.5 in the first quarter, which I have also played. I've got them all over the board. But for today on the show, 22.5 under in the first half. Then my second play, going back to LSU. If you remember last week, I played LSU on the over. We're going right back to that same play today. I got it at 55.5. It's still available in a couple places in the market at 55.5. If not, I'm okay with 56. This line opened at 59.5, which I think is the appropriate number, frankly. I think that we're going to see a lot of passing in this game between Max Johnson and Will Rogers. I know a lot of people think that when you get to these SEC games that you're going to have a little bit of defense. It's going to slow down a bit. That's okay thought process other than these two teams. These two teams, 44-34 was the victory last year. I think that this one's going to be very close to that again. I think it's a candidate for an overtime game as well. So I do love the over here at 55.5.
I like any game where M squared says, I'm playing this 6 different ways, and you know it's true. Like, legit, he's got 6 different ways that he's hitting on this game. It makes me happy. Micah, you've got a couple plays for us as well, buddy. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I got Notre Dame. It's at Wisconsin, right? Because it's 6.5. So is that correct? It is at Madison?
No, it's in Chicago.
Okay. All right. So I am lost then. I've been trying to figure this out all week, where this Wisconsin rating jumped up out of nowhere. I mean, they were -5 against Penn State. They blow out, who was it last week? Eastern Michigan, only allowed 194 yards. So the metric somehow just jumped up through the roof for Wisconsin. And I know Circa opened the game 5. I'm trying to figure out what they have that has jumped up Penn State. And I guess it's the defensive metrics. Notre Dame has looked sluggish, but these are things that they can fix. And I think they're going to show off this game in Chicago, which they're going to have a lot of fans there. We know that. But still 6.5 is just kind of a ridiculous number. And I don't know. I would expect it to fall a little bit in the next hour or so. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that's, the quarterback wise, Graham Mertz, that Penn State game just showed me everything. After his first game last year, he had like 5 touchdown passes. It's like, this is the best guy ever. He's not. The guy's got the yips. When the game is on the line, he fumbles the ball, makes bad choices, bad decisions. That's a young quarterback, but that's part of the equation, and that's what bothers my mind. So Wisconsin somehow, in my ratings, jumped up 1.5 from the first week there. But Notre Dame's been steady along the way. So I don't know what happened here. I'll ask some more guys and figure out what am I missing? Oh, there's a player no, that's not the case. Jack Cohn's back, and he's got, of course he wants to be to his former team. So that's one of them. And also I'm going to go Washington and under. I think that's a good combination there. We've seen Cal go into Washington a couple of years ago as 14-point underdog and win outright 20-19. Justin Wilcox has been amazing so far, but this year they struggle a little bit. So has Washington, but Washington got out of it last week. Dylan Morris did okay, and he had struggled his first couple of games, but this is a spot. I think the defense will be ahead of the offense for both teams. I think it's a good under bet, and I'm going to go ahead and go with Washington here. I have the game rated Washington 10 on neutral field. I'm going to go ahead and give them 4.5, 5 for home field. So in my eyes, the game should be 15. I'm getting it cheap because there's kind of a down signal on Washington and their quarterback, but I think they'll be all right tonight and keep the game low scoring.
So a couple things. First, I can't get over your background here. Like, it looks so just peaceful. Like, I want to watch football out there, right? Like, you got a nice palm tree, over your right shoulder. Yeah, it's nice. We'll go. Yeah, it looks good. And 2, your sense of humor, it's so dry. Excuse me. Yeah. It's so dry. It makes me laugh. Like, it's just so good, man. It's so good. I'm with you. Like, that game is fascinating from a numbers perspective.
It doesn't have
No, it doesn't at all.
Both games, actually.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go with 2 plays here, and I'd love you guys' opinion here. First, I'm going to go with Army -7.5. Today, I believe that what you see they do on the ground, averaging 331 yards per game. They're just tough to handle, man. Like, they're a lot to deal with, and not only Can they control the pace of the game, control the time of the game? They can also chunk yard you, right, on the ground, right? So I think that this actually plays in our favor. I would have loved to have gotten into the 7, but it dropped from 8.5 to 7.5 last night. So I'll definitely take that there. The second game, I'm going to take Kentucky -5 at South Carolina. And look, Kentucky's a better team. They have the better coach. They have the better offense. They have the better defense. And I just trust them more, right? Plus, you look at what they do offensively. This quarterback can play. He's good, man. Like, he's aggressive, but I like that out of this Kentucky team. And you're getting them after a nice little scare against UT Chattanooga last week. So I think it's a good bounce back, opportunity for them. So I'm going to take Kentucky -5, and I'm going to take Army -7.5. So, as Coach says, grab your paper, grab your pencil. Let's go ahead and get this recap up. Let you get these bets in and get this college football Saturday started. A beautiful board here. Micah, by the way, side note, on our college football preview show every Wednesday, you're 75% against the spread, man. Well done.
Awesome.
Yeah, well done. So Micah's on Notre Dame +6.5, Washington -7.5, Cal Washington under 47. Amanda M Squared is on Notre Dame, Wisconsin first half under 22.5. LSU, Mississippi State over 56. I'm on Army -7.5. Kentucky -5. Our site play from our guy Barrett Salee. Texas A&M, Arkansas under 47.5. And the AB3 today, 3 plays plus 581. We're just going to trail the show here. I got faith in our guys, right? LSU, Mississippi State over 56. Notre Dame +6.5. And Army -7.5. So, Coach is really good in this position. He gets everybody fired up, ready to go. Look, I could do that, but no one wants me screaming. All I am going to say is this: in honor of Micah, in honor of M Squared, in honor of all the guys, let's just make some money today. Yes. Take it straight to the pay window, make some money. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Do you want best bets in your feed every single day? All you have to do is hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Early Edge.